Good morning, students, learners. This will be our first video presentation in the subject Contemporary Philippine Arts from the Regions. There will be a series of video presentations with regards to the topic listed in our curriculum. So let's start. Ready to listen, and afterwards you will be doing an activity. Okay, get ready. So the first topic for our video presentation is the origin and influences of arts in the Philippines. So we will be doing the political and the social impact of arts. Let's have the targets. Number one, we are going to discuss the origin and influences of arts in the Philippines. Number two, we're going to cite the political and social impact of arts influences in the contemporary arts. Number three, we're going to for our activity, you're going to present a matrix of origin and impacts of arts in the Philippines. So you will be doing it after the discussion on the art traditions. Let's have a review on the concept of art. We didn't define the definition of the word, no? But we have to but we conceptualize the meaning of arts, no? We have three concepts. Number one is art is to expressing your emotions, anger, feelings. Number two is the art must be appreciated, even though people never pleases, no? But there must be an appreciation of the arts to be able to put it as one. And number three, for the aesthetic beauty. Okay? So if someone asks you what is an art, you have to say it in three things: to express, appreciation, and for aesthetic beauty. Let's have the warm up first, no, before we deal with the discussion on the art traditions. You know what's gibberish, no? You're going to determine what word or words being stated in the following gibberish words. So just like in the picture, you guess the gibberish is bunch pops queer pants. It is obviously, no, with the drawing, it says here, SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay? So let's start with the gibberish. Heart and installation. Anyone? Yeah, it's called art installation. Okay, art installation is a sculpture, a form of art. Actually started in the range of 1980s, 1990s, the art installation and part of the contemporary art. Next, contemporary art. You can jot down in your notes. Yes? Yeah, that's correct. That is contemporary art. Contemporary art. What we have discussed about contemporary art is there must be new forms on the new art, or maybe if an artist making an innovations of an art forms, putting some materials, new materials, and an unconventional instruments or materials, that could be a contemporary art, as well as the topic and as well as the execution of the art forms, that is contemporary. Next, Fernando Morse Olo. Actually, this is a person. I I remember saying that this is the first person who received a National Artist Award. So he was a National Artist Award. What's the name? Fernando Amorsolo. Remember that. Okay. Have you warmed up yet? Yes. We start with the art. No? The art plays a significant role in the abundant culture identity in the Philippines. No? The art reflects the people's identity, Philippine history, traditions and practices, ideals, and as well as opportunities. Thus, if you are going to explore arts, it gives definition to culture. So what's in your art, that will be the definition of your activities, no? As we define it as a culture. The Philippines has diverse art forms, no, from its different regions. We talk about region art forms from the south, art forms from the north, art forms from the Visayas. So there is a diverse art forms, no, in every region. It gives a clear picture how abundant the culture and traditions of our country. Looking at the picture, there is a differences in the execution of arts. No? The other one is a visual representation of fighting chickens. The other one is the forms and the execution of might comes in the south, no, in Mindanao. Look at the design. So in the execution of an art, there will be a different manifestations of their cultural values in reference to the art forms. Now it continues to evolve from its origin, the art forms, no, up to the present and progress to contemporary art traditions. As we have seen in the picture, look at the picture. There's a chicken, which is he uses several arts of elements, and the other one is an abstraction. No, that is not uh, an examine the or a full description of a shape, color of a chicken, but I call it a contemporary art because it gives touches of perspective through colors, representations, and art forms. And to fully understand the nature of the art's origin and influences in the Philippines, as well as art identity among Filipinos. Show me your art, I will tell you what identity you are. Right? That's correct, right? Now, the development of the arts in the Philippines will be discussed in three major traditions. The major traditions are ethnic traditions, Spanish traditions, and the third one will be American colonial and contemporary art traditions. This is actually a summary, no, of all characteristics of arts. No? And it was subdivided in traditions as we speak of the ethnic, the Spanish, and the American colonial. Basically, these are the influences in arts in the Philippines. Let's have the ethnic traditions. Number one, even before the coming of the Western colonizers, ethnic art forms are primarily influenced by the geographic locations and experiences by the early settlers. We call it as the genius loci, no? Depending on the geographical locations, a parallel development of art will be manifest. Okay? Now, the purpose of art is reflected in one, the pagans' belief and practices. Number two, the everyday activities of the people. Number three, the reflections of art in fishing and farming. That is their basic source of livelihood. So meaning to say, lahat ng kanilang mga activities, experiences ay doon nagre-reflect yung kanilang mga arts. If they are not into fishing and farming, maybe they are the opportunity that comes in their livelihood is forestry. So there will be a manifestation of the art forms in reference to forest and mountains and okay. And of course, a specific decorative pattern of the art forms depending on the geographical locations. So two things, the ethnic art forms are primarily influenced by two. Number one, geographic locations. And number three, the experiences. Take note of that. Huh? Let's say an example of the evidence that these ethnic traditions have manifested. There is this Angono Binangonan petroglyphs. It is a site where there are drawings, no? There are markings on the walls that the early settlers have carved it. Ito yung pagpapakita na ano yung nakikita nila, at ano yung na-experience, at ano yung nagiging everyday activities din. So, sinire-record nila yun. And it becomes actually an art forms for them. Basically, the existence of a rock shelter was reported to the National Museum by the late national artist of the Philippines by the name Carlos Botong Francisco in March 1965. It was discovered during a field trip with several Boy Scouts along the boundaries of Angono, Binangonan, and Antipolo of the province of Rizal. And Carlos Botong Francisco was from that location. Okay? Remember that, ha? And Carlos Botong Francisco, a National Artist Awardee of the Philippines. Next, after the Angono petroglyphs, we have the Manunggul jar, discovered in Palawan, early 1960s. You know, Manunggul is a burial jar, signifying the beliefs of early people in life after death. What transpires with this Manunggul jar is we contemporary Filipinos, the modern Filipinos or the contemporary Filipinos is still believing in the life after death. Because of this. So it has a religious impact for the contemporary Filipinos in relevance to these traditions happened during the ethnic eras. When we speak of ethnic traditions, that's before the Spaniards came here or docked here in the Philippines. So bago dumating sila, meron na. Ito na yung pinapakita ng mga evidence na a simple manunggul jar or a burial jar, it talks about culture. See, the arts and culture are actually, collaborated to explain things about Filipino identities or cultural identities of a certain place. Okay? So there are lots of discoveries, not only manunggul jar, but also discoveries of the pottery, discoveries of the jewelries that speaks about culture. Next is the banga or the pot dance in relation to the Manunggul jar. The banga, this is actually an art performance, no, of the Kalinga mountain province. Now, the banga dance shows the elegance, grace of the Igoro tribe and the skills, strength for women. So it speaks on the power of the woman or the woman, what it takes to be, no? That the power of a woman can settle things, not only man. Okay, so it is a reflections of the women's daily activity that they have the power to, not only a man dominating the societies. And it was reflected in a performance dance, the banga dance. Actually, ang dami nating dance na nagpo-portray doon sa the empowerment of women during that time. Kahit hindi pa nauuso ang discrimination, pinakikita na doon sa mga traditions with the early settlers in the Philippines, early people in the Philippines, na meron na tayong cultural values referring to women empowerment. Okay? Actually, yung mga dances like the Pangalay dance, mimetic dance of the seabirds. Pinapakita yung galaw nung ibong dagat. So, anong reflection nito? Ano yung nakikita? kung ano yung kanilang everyday life, kung ano yung naging meron sa cultural values or the geographic locations, nire-reflect nila to arts, dance. Like this manmanok, no? Imitating the movements of the predatory birds. So, saan merong predatory birds? Okay, there is a place in, I think, Camarines, may mga predatory birds, as well as in the different parts in reference to geographical locations, mountains, forest. So, nire-reflect nila yung galaw ng predatory birds through performance art. I told you, art and culture is a collaborative yan, parallel yan dapat. For the ethnic literature, basically yung mga kanilang ethnic literature, no, with that evidence, no, eh, isinusulat ito doon sa mga bark of trees, doon sa, like in the bamboo, no, the bamboo stalk. Tapos in a different materials, leaves. So yan ang ating mga kwaderno or notebook. That's why Filipinos, some of the Filipinos discovered and developed their knowledge that the ethnic literature is actually is in existence. Meron talaga niyan dahil because of the evidence. I think the Mangyan people, they preserve it. Yung mga ganyang klaseng evidences of art forms. Tinago nila yan kasi nung pagdating ng mga Spaniards, pinagsusunog yan. Okay? So, pasalamat tayo sa mga people na nag-preserve ng kanilang klaseng ethnic literature. And we have two, no? During that time, we have two forms of literature. We have the written, just like the Bugtong, Salawikain, and Tanaga. What are the contents of the Bugtong, Salawikain? Of course, ano yung mga daily activities? Ano yung nakikita nila? I heard something about the Bugtong na nagre-reflect doon sa kanilang community or the geographical locations. Now, the oral literature is, this is unwritten, no? Ano lang to, sometimes binibigkas, kinukwento, o sinasalin lahi lang yung mga kwento. And some of it are not written or not documented. That's why it's called as oral literature. You heard about in Sagada and Baguio, an indigenous people chanting over the mountains. So nagkukwento sila ng kanilang pang-araw-araw na buhay, yung kanilang forms of political structure, yun ang kanilang binibigkas through chants. And that is an oral literature. Next is, let's go to the Spanish tradition. Sabi ko kanina, pagdating Spanish, pinalitan lahat, no? Pasalamat tayo sa mga nag-reserve ng kanilang mga evidences and ethnic traditions, no? Bagamat pinasunog ito at nagkaroon ng elimination of ethnic cultural values, nakatawid pa rin sa atin ito at natututunan natin yung mga ethnic traditions. Okay? So in the Spanish tradition, the art forms were primarily influenced by religion and secularization. That's why they're here for, right? The Spaniards came here to religiously, no, indoctrinate people to be Christians, specifically to be Catholics. And actually, they use art to propagate the Catholic faith. Saan makikita yan? Like in this example, pinapakita dun sa simbahan pa lang with the Baroque Spanish art. Given an example, the Miagao Church in Iloilo na napakaganda, no? At ipapakita talaga na ano yung culture in the form of architecture, yung Spanish, inside the Spanish traditions. Siyempre, kapag pumasok ka lalo niyan, makikita mo, no? Makikita mo yung mga examples. Like, a church in Paeta, Laguna. Merong painting doon in three forms. No? It was entitled Langit, Lupa at Impyerno, no? The Heaven, Earth, and Hell. It was established 1850 by Jose Luciano Dans from the Paeta, Laguna. It is a three-level painting which shows the Holy Trinity, Mary, the Mother of Christ, saints, the seven blessed sacraments, and the macabre depiction of hell. Parang bang pinapakita sa art na ito, ano talaga ang paniniwala ng mga Catholicism? Ano nga ba? Na merong hell, merong heaven, merong Holy Trinity. Now, the other paintings is entitled Purgatorio. That we are believing right now. No? Naniniwala tayo dyan. Kaya patuloy tayo nagdadasal doon sa ating mga namatay. We visited cemeteries during seasons. Pinagdadasal natin sila kasi naniniwala tayo na sila ay nasa purgatorio pa lang at hindi pa nakakaakot sa langit. See? That is a social impact. Okay? The other painting is entitled Purgatorio, which shows the 8 punishments the soul passes through for cleansing before reaching heaven. So, pinaparusahan muna siya. At naniniwala tayo dyan, no? Yung mga Catholics. Na meron purgatorio na kailangan sa pamagitan ng ating mga dasal, indulhensya, matutulungan natin umakyat sa langit ang ating mga namayapang ng mga pamilya o kaya kakilala. And this particular concept of the langit, lupa at impyerno, ayan nga ipinapakita dun sa art form, sa painting. Paete, Laguna. Pupunta tayo dyan. Swimming. Next, another evidence with the Spanish tradition is the St. Paul Metropolitan Cathedral, the Burgos, found at Burgos, Vigan, Ilocos Sur. No? Was built 1574 and replaced as a church in 1641. 1574 from 1641, actually, the construction of the building stopped. No? Maybe for due reasons. And nagpalit na rin ng pamunuan at mga tao in the construction of the church. So, natapos lang ito at napasinaya ito ng 1641. It became the first parish church in Northern Luzon. So, isa sa mga luma. Actually, I'm from Bohol, going to our place, no, from Tagbilaran. Biyahe kami ng mga tours. And as I look at the window of the car travels, makikita talaga sa gilid yung mga different church establishments. Ang gaganda, mga luma. Yung iba ay naapektuhan ng lindol, naapektuhan ng sunog, pero nandun yung mga remains. Okay? As well as in Cebu and the different provinces. Makikita mo na talagang nag-establish ang Spanish colonizers ng kanilang mga art forms, not just only through faith and religion. As I've said earlier, they use art, no, to propagate their Catholic faiths. Tingnan mo yung loob ng St. Paul Metropolitan Cathedral, no, doon sa drawing. It's an authentic. Of course, some of them are renovations, pero makikita mo talaga yung art forms, no, yung Spanish traditions. Next, of course, in Manila, makita natin intramuros lang, punta ka dyan, makikita mo yung mga evidence at saka yung manifestation ng Spanish traditions. Pasok ka doon sa Manila Cathedral. Okay? Pasok ka doon sa San Agustin Church. It was all a Baroque architectural designs na dinala sa atin dito. At ayan nga, no, nag-establish sila at nag-construct the constructions of the Baroque architectural designs. At pinipreserve natin yun dahil yan ay bahagi ng ating culture, the art forms, architecture. Okay? Not only the churches, no? Punta ka lang din sa no? Intramuros is military camp yan dati. Makikita mo yung structure nito. Makikita mo yung mga lumang kanyon, ayan. Structure siya, pero tingnan mo yung pagkaka-build ng architectural values nito, ay talagang art form siya. Next, the American Colonial. American Colonial, there are two, no? The modern art and the contemporary art. The modern art refers to the practice of art from like 1860s to 1960s. So modern art ang tawag doon. So the main theme in this area is, in this era is national identity. Pagpapakilala kung ano tayo. Okay? And this, the recognition of our national identity actually impacted the political and the social situations, no? Political and social identity of the Filipino people. Now, this modern art under the American colonial is the period of the 1898 revolution. Okay? Ano yung mga sinusulat doon? Ano yung naaalala natin during the 1868 revolution art forms, no? Marami diyan literature, no? Marami ding mga architecture diyan at marami ding mga iba pang art forms. Paintings lalo na, no? Also the period of the post-revolution and Philippine nationalism. Okay? At lahat ng ito ay nagpapakilala ng ating national identity. So sa tingin nyo, ano yung magiging impact nito sa ating political and social? And one example is the making of the Philippine flag, a painting by our national artist awardee Fernando Amorsol. Amorsol's The Making of the Philippine Flag stands as a monument to Filipino nationalism. Itinaas niya yung level ng nasyonalismo at pagka-Filipino natin sa pamamagitan nito ng painting na ito. Thus, it has a political and a social impact. And as a that this painting, the Making Philippine Flag, as a testament to the power of art in shaping national identity. Turon tayo ng ano dito, no? Pagkakabuklod-buklod na at paniniwala na tayo yung mga Pilipino, iisa tayo. Okay? So with that Philippine nationalism reflected on the paintings. Anyway, sino nga ba gumawa ng ating Philippine flag? Research yan, ha? Bahagi yan ng ating topic. Next is another painting, no? During the time of the birth of the Filipino nationalism is the Bayanihan by Carlos Botong Francisco, 1962. The exposition of the characteristics of Filipino when someone in need. Na talagang hindi lang ito drawing, no? Hindi lang ito painting, but it is actually a Filipino characteristics. Filipino descriptions of a behavior when someone in need. Okay? And showing you these art forms is actually kulang pa. Ang daming art forms na makikita natin during the time of the birth of the Philippine nationalism, pero focusing only on the Bayanihan and the American flag because it manifests the indeed concept and the focus on during the time of the Spanish traditions. Hindi lang yan, meron artworks na tayo lumalaban, maging isa, artworks from the national heroes, di ba? Okay? And other things with that particular Spanish traditions. Contemporary art, no? One is modern art. Contemporary art, it refers to the practice of art from 1970s up to the present, called as the contemporary, yung pangkasalukuyan. It mirrors contemporary culture and society, diverse and the emerging art practices. Ito, malaya na yung kaisipan nito, no? Actually, ang pinaka-tema, if the Spanish tradition focusing on the birth of the Filipino nationalism, eto, diverse, iba-iba. Nanggaling na ito dun sa puso, sa damdamin ng gumawa ng obra, called as the contemporary. Not only damdamin at puso ng gumawa ng obra or the artist, but also the forms. How do they manifest art forms? Using unconventional materials, using other forms that never seen, no, in the art art scenery, no? So patuloy na lumalaganap yung kanilang artistry and creativity through this. Kaya tinatawag itong contemporary art. You know that, no? I explained already, no? Giving you the example of the art contemporary art, the Cinco Marias, Tres Maria series, no, by Federico Aguilar Albuas. Sir, ang dami namang example contemporary, pero this is actually never been discussed, no? At saka rarely discuss ito and explain, no? Yung mga ganitong klase contemporary. It's just a painting of girls, pero may mga sinasabi ito, no? It actually depicts the variety of domestic activities. Basahin natin yung Cinco Marias, Tres Marias series at makita natin yung several paintings with under this title, talagang magpapakita ito ng ano yung activity ng mga babae during that. Okay? Makabago ba ito? Of course, makabago ito. Ito ba hindi pangkaraniwang konsepto ng kababaihan kung ano yung kanilang mga daily activities? So, that's one example. Cinco Marias, Tres Maria series. The other one is according to the book, The Art Installation in San June by Leroy New. It was constructed the Pawai, Ilocos Norte in the San June. No? Sino nakarating sa San June? Ito yung malawakang buhangin lang. No? Na doon itinayo. Bakit? Mistulang disyerto ito at mistilong malawak na buhanginan. Pero bakit doon tinayo? Okay? Siyempre may purpose yan. And the Ilocos actually celebrates the Himala sa Buhangin Festival. Dito nagpapasinayan yung kanilang celebrations. Do you imagine, no? Sa kalagitnaan ng buhanginan, nagpapos ito ng art installation si Leroy. Let's analyze. No? Upon the discussion of the three traditions, let's analyze how this artwork impact political aspect and social behavior of the Philippines. Some of it actually is I already stating the impact politically and socially. So ano ba talaga? No? And I discuss it with my examples. So you will be doing your examples and then synthesizing it into what's the political impact and the social impact of those artworks. Next is how these artworks build unity, no, among Filipino people and established national identity. Naku, napakahalaga niyan. Hindi, not just showing you art forms, but it has an impact on the Filipino national identity, unity, collaborations, Filipinism, at yung ating pagiging isang bansa. Meron yan, no? Hindi lang siya. Okay? So, upon the analysis, you are going to draw a matrix with 3 columns, the art traditions, the political impact, and the social impact. I gave you examples for the Manunggul jar, and that is under the ethnic traditions. No? So what is the political impact of Manunggul jar? No? Alam natin na Manunggul jar is parang ano siya, no? Nilagyan ng abo, ano yan, burial jar yan. No? So ano yung political impact nito? Meron ba? I gave a statement like, the high respect on the dead still gives legacy, no, to cultural institution of the Philippines. Kaya nga yung the high respect to the dead person, no, we celebrate Rizal's death anniversary because we give high respect to it, and that is political. We commemorate the death of the Bayanis to be able to remember the deeds and his heroes activities during that time. No? So binibigyan natin yan at minsan walang pasok yan. So we give tribute to this particular person, and that is a political impact. Yes. What else? Sir, akala ba manunggol jar? Eh, ano yung purpose? It's just a jar, no? An, an artifacts of jar. Pero yung concept, bakit nila ginawang burial jar yun? Yun. They respect the dead. For the social impact, Filipinos respect the remains of their departed relatives. San tumatama yun, no? Sa religiosity, the faith, high respect to our relatives and other things. And that is a social impact. So you will be giving three examples of the art forms in three traditions, no? The ethnic traditions, Spanish traditions, and the American colonial contemporary arts. So that will be your assignment, Seaport. I gave several examples like Langit, Lupa at Impyerno and the art installation of Sanjun na diniscuss dito sa aking presentations. But you will be you don't use these examples anymore, no? So you will going to for the instruction, you're going to research on pieces of artworks in each art traditions. So three examples ito and be able to fill in the political and social impact of them. You're going to print the matrix and submit, no, upon listening and viewing these video presentations. Okay, so that is your assignment. Question? Of course, you cannot raise questions. This is a video presentation, so pero the questions will be entertained as we see face to face in our classroom. So that's it. That is the origin and the influences of arts in the Philippines, its political and social impact. You try to click the the subscription to be able to have a notification what's new with the video presentations regarding the CPAR Samsung. Okay? Actually, gagawin na natin ito lagi para hindi na tayo makakapag-discuss sa classroom because the 50 minutes in the classroom, hindi siya kasya, no? Hindi siya kasya. So, ginawa natin to para to give way to the further discussions of the topic. As well, the political and social impact of the art forms, hindi siya nadi-discuss, no? I already discussed the examples and the thoughts and concept of arts. So, topics that are rarely discussed in the classroom will be put into video presentation. So that's why you have to make a notification will be is important to see if there are new activities or new video presentations. Okay, that's it. Sir J, for subject, and good day to everyone.